Good morning, one and all. Myself, Dr. Gaikwad KG, and here we are going to start with the chapter number 5, that is cell structure and organization. Here, the definition, as we know, cell is the basic structural and functional unit of life. Okay, and because of the cells, actually whatever the living organisms are there, they are capable of independent existence and can perform all functions of their life, like reproduction, movement, respiration, and all metabolic processes again. So to see the cell clearly, we need a microscope. Larger cells can see through the simple microscope. It is actually dissecting microscope seen here, used for the dissection purpose, and for the more magnification, for the more clarity to observe the microscopic cells. Okay, we need the compound microscope or the electron microscope. So, simple microscope can magnify the image up to 50 to 100 times, but the compound microscope can do so hundreds, not thousands of times or the more. And this compound microscope, we generally see it in the laboratory. Here a beam of light is used to make the things visible, and hence it is called as the light microscope. To see the interior of the cell, we need the electron microscope. Two different types of electron microscopes are there. This is the transmission electron microscope, and it's about the scanning electron microscope. It is called as the TEM, SEM. Okay, both these microscope, here we just see that these are the smaller one, but actually these are the huge one, and it takes whole room capacity. Okay, so these are the electron microscope, and here these microscope can magnify the image up to 5 lakhs time. Okay, so in this way we can observe the inner cell organelles. Okay, clearly, very clearly. Afterwards, here it's about the Anton van Leeuwenhoek, who was the first to observe the living cell, and it's about the microscope which is made by him. Next to the diversity, cell diversity. Cells are diverse in its shape, its size, and in different ways. So, typical shape of the cell is there? No, there is no typical shape of the cell. Cell may be spherical, may be rectangular, may be flattened, may be polygonal, oval, triangular, conical, columnar, etc. We already discussed all these different types of tissue there in previous chapter, and where we observe that different type of tissues are there, and these tissues having the cells of varied shape. Okay, next to this is the diversity according to the cell size. Cell size varies greatly in various plants and animals. Some of them are not visible by the naked eye, some are barely visible, while some are macroscopic, means they are seen very clearly by the naked eyes. The smallest cell can be seen in the mycoplasm, that is the bacteria, and its size is about 0.3 μm in length. Whatever the about another bacterial cells, they varies from 3 to 5 μm, while the largest size of cell is seen, that is the ostrich egg. and that is about 15 centimeter. Okay. And what about the longest cell? Longest cells are the nerve cells. Okay. So, we already know that cell theory is there. This cell theory, before that we just are going to see here, this chart is about the showing the cell size, okay, in the different one. It's about the diversity of the cell size. It's again very important. A German botanist, Matthias Sheldon examined number of plants and concluded that various tissues of plant are composed of different types of cells. At that time, a British zoologist, that is the Theodore Schwann, in 1839 proposed that cells are bound by a thin membrane. He also explained about the existence of the cell wall as a unique character of plant cell. On the basis of this observation, he proposed that animals and plants are made up of the cells and product of cells. So, we know that cell theory, that is given by the Schwann and Sheldon. Okay. But this theory is only theory, gives some postulates that all living organisms are composed of one or more cell. The cell is the basic structural and functional unit of the living thing. But there is no explanation about the formation of new cells, from where the new cells are come. It is not even explained by the cell theory given by the Schwann and Sheldon. So, later on, Rudolf Virchow in 1855, who first explained that the new cells are formed by cell division from the pre-existing cell. Okay. So, what the Rudolf Virchow says, cell arise from the pre-existing cell by the cell division, that is either mitosis or the meiosis, not derived from the spontaneous generation. It is given by the Rudolf Virchow. Rudolf Virchow in 1855 gives the cell theory, and where he just give a concept, that is the omnis cellula e cellula, which means that every cell is come from a cell. So, here whatever the different cells are there, they reproduce to form genetically equivalent daughter cells. Okay. These are the postulates of modern cell theory. All living organisms are made up of the cell. Living cell arises from the pre-existing cell. A cell is structural and functional unit of life. Total activities, whatever there, which are done in the cell, which are actually responsible for the activity of an organism. Cells show transformation of energy again. Cells contain nucleic acid, they again contain DNA and RNA in the nucleus, and again they having the cytoplasm. Okay. So, whatever the genetic material is present there, that is either in the form of DNA and RNA, or either one or both one. Okay. And whatever the different genes are there present in the DNA, that is called as the genome, means the sum total of the all genes present on the DNA, they are called as the genome. Okay. Next is about the totipotency. Totipotency means what? It is the capability or the capacity or the potential of the living nucleated cell to differentiate and divide to form any other type of cell. So, from this we can conclude that from a single cell, whether it is our somatic cell or the germ cells we already know that they having the capability of formation of the fetus. Okay, means from the whenever the sperm and ovum is fused, fertilization takes place, zygote is formed, then the morula, blastula is going to form, then the gastrula is going to form. Likewise, the baby is going to develop, fetus is going to develop. Okay, so this is the potential, but again, totipotency, it's about whatever I told you, that is about the what? That is about the germ cell. But again, whatever somatic cells are there, they again having the nucleus. Means nucleus, if they have, they having the genetic material in the nucleus. Okay, means each cell, whether it is somatic or the genetic, all having the capability or the potential to differentiate and divide to form other type of cells. In the cloning, same technique is going to used. Okay, from the somatic cell, the clone can be created. Okay, can be generated in the laboratory also. Again, another concept is given here. A cell is totipotent because it has the entire genetic information of the organism in its nucleus. Embryonic animal cells are totipotent and termed as the stem cells. Again, about this embryonic stem cell, okay, or these embryonic stem cells are the totipotent. Not only totipotent, we can say it as the pluripotent. Okay, stem cells which are just recovered from the umbilical cord, okay, during the parturition. Okay, so that stem cells nowadays, the cryopreservation of such a stem cell is done there, and these stem cells are again used to cure the different diseases. Okay, means if baby is suffering from any medical problem, okay, if there is a problem in the heart, or there is a problem in the liver, kidney, or any other organ, okay, at that time whatever the affected organ is there, whatever the deformed organ is there, in that such stem cells are transplanted, and in this way the deformed organ, okay, damaged organ can be cured later on. But it is somewhat very expensive technology, but nowadays the stem cell technology is going to use in the different countries. So it's about the pluripotent. See what is given here, whatever the zygote is going to form, and then after in the blastocyst, in the blastula, the inner membrane, okay, of the blastula, they having the cells which are the pluripotent. Okay, inner mass of cells in the blastula. Okay, they having the capability to differentiate either in the cardiac cell, the heart cell, they can be transformed into the nervous cell or other immune cells or the any other type of cells. Okay, so it's about the same, pluripotent stem cells is given there. Okay, so in the next lecture we will discuss about the kinds of cells.